Hi everyone, welcome back again to another episode in your favorite channel, Among Teachers. Today we have two special guests here in our channel, and we are going to talk about the different theories that we can learn and apply it inside of the classroom. So I would like to introduce these two prominent teachers in the field of languages and
Hi, my name is Diana Perez Valente. I'm an English teacher and I have been working in an elementary school for about 10 years. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Okay, well, my name is Berenice Villegas, and I have been teaching English for 4 years in a public school. I teach to more than 400 students. They are from 6 to 12 years, and I really enjoy this activity. Thank you for the invitation.
Thanks, both of you. Well, so, first of all, we are going to start talking about behaviorists. And to develop that matters on the topic, I would like to start with Diana, which is she knows more about this field. She has been experience about the field of behaviorism. And well, Diana, what is behaviorism for you?
Well, behaviorism is a theory of learning which is based on the conditioning. It uses a stimulus, and behaviorists said that any any behavior can be conditionating, rather using a reinforcement or a punishment. So the father of behaviorists is John B. Watson. But later, another authors that are important in this theory are B.F. Skinner and Ivan Pavlov. Pavlov did an experiment with dogs. He has a dog, and every time he has this dog, and when he goes to feed the dog, he ring a bell. So the dog knows that every time that he hears the bell is going to be fed.
Interesting.
Interesting. So do you think that if we can knock one bell inside of a classroom, taking this just as an analogy, it could be helpful for the students?
Yes, we use that. Well, in elementary school, we ring a bell for the recess.
The recess.
The recess, and kids
Yeah,
knows
right.
that when they hear the bell, they are going to eat and to play a little bit.
Yeah, to have a
Yes.
short break or a
Yes.
quick break.
Yes, and they become very excited about that sounding.
Yeah.
When they hear that, they say, "Oh, this is freedom!" So they can leave out the classroom and they have a lot of fun.
So another question that is being occurring lately is like, do you think that humans are always close to the behaviors, or behaviors is just a theory? So
I think behaviorist is very used by teachers because at the end of the course we have to give
Grade?
a grade, and that's what measure the knowledge. So a 10 means that the kid knows, but if he got a 6, it means that he requires reinforcement.
yes. Oh, yeah. Well, so yeah, that's one clear example
Yes.
about using behaviors inside the classroom. Yes, because we normally think that behaviors is equals to punishment. You know.
No, another use of behaviors is that it creates habits in kids and even in adults. For example, in elementary school, we have the ring to start the class, the ring to the break, the ring to the exit.
And I think just behaviorism is a theory, but it's is still used. People have seen the benefits of use it because enterprises like gives an extra to their employees so they can get early and they have maybe if they sell more things they have more money, so this is like an preferably for the goodness of the
Yeah.
company. So if they arrive late, no, we are just going to take some money from your salary. Well, I think that is an example that behaviorism is still used nowadays.
Yeah, it's not only inside of the classroom. This is
No.
No,
Yes.
we use in your family,
society.
yes,
Yeah.
but it also has some limitation because it only focuses on behavioral what we can see on person.
Yes.
Mhm.
So it leaves aside the emotion and the way they feel, their interests.
Yeah.
So it has some limitations.
I have listened about that part, and I also think that we can see the behavior of the person about your emotions. For example, I saw one explanation a long time ago about, for example, if you feel jealous about if you are married or if you have a girlfriend or boyfriend, and if you feel jealous, quickly you show that the behavior of that feeling.
That
Yeah.
feel.
So even if some research say that behavior is about the environment, you can also identify some behaviorism about emotions, but you need to be aware and well prepared about that. I think that.
But behaviorists use the environment to use a stimulus.
Yes.
So that's why the environment is important to behaviorism.
And the stimulus is equal to receive a reward, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's
Okay.
why. Yes, that's why theories have developed. For example, let me tell you about inautism. Now, because Chomsky didn't agree with this behaviorist theory, he says that everything is in our mind, that language comes naturally. For example, as we walk, well, nobody taught us how to walk.
Yeah.
It was just natural.
Natural.
At certain age, I started to walk, and then it's the same with language. We listen to the words, and then we acquire that first language. He says that it's the same with second language. So
Yes.
we have this probability that we can learn, but because everything is in our mind.
But I think inautism has a limitation because it's hard to understand hard structures of language for a beginning.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why Krushan established a hypothesis, and he says that the second language is learned in an order, natural order. It means like when you were a baby, you didn't speak
Understand.
like a professional language. You just started with some phrases like mom, dad, then I love you, mom.
Some
Then
words.
yes,
Some words.
they were more structured. When you were 5, you could speak more. And look at you now. You are presenting a topic. It's the same in second language. So you start with just the basics, and then you improve. And that's why Kershaw mentions that a comprehensible input is very important. And that it has to be comprehensible. It's just not speaking.
But sometimes the students didn't get to understand all the words that teacher said because maybe they imagine the context, but they don't get specific words, and it doesn't have a structure of teaching. So it's hard to take out the facilitation in an adult. So that would be a disadvantage of inatism.
Yes, yes, I
Could be.
normally see that, yes. Well, but I also think that the natural approach is very important in our life, in our early grounds of life, because if we don't have the link between the language, we can also forget how to speak. We can also learn some words, but we can lose the ability to speak. Yeah, because I don't know if you have you ever seen the video about the girl, the girl.
Ginny?
Yes, yes. Do you know about her?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Yes. Well, for as I tell you, for Crashes, his theory and everything, it makes sense to me. Before talking about Genie, for example, comprehensible input is you have to be very comprehensible. For example, if we are learning the parts of the body, touch your eyes, nose, but and also he says that that there is an age that for us to learn the first, in this case, the first language, or it could be more difficult to if we are grown old to learn a second language, but and he has some proofs. For example, Ginny case. This girl who was in a basement, locked in a room, dark room, and she had no contact
No
with
interaction with the family, with any
Yes,
member of the
any
family.
member of the family. So her father just barked at her. Can you imagine your father just woof, woof, woof at
Yes,
you?
yeah,
And
that's crazy.
yes,
That's insane.
yes,
Yes.
I know.
And
And
sad at the same time, you know.
yes, sad. So she was found, this case was found when she was 11, 12 years old. But, and then they tried to teach her how to talk.
To integrate to
Yes,
society.
but it was hard. And also these natural abilities that you learn at a certain age were difficult to get because, for example, as I said before, walking, she was always tied to a chair, so she didn't have any strength in the legs. It was hard for her also to walk like normal people.
Yes, because her natural approach wasn't quite correctly because she was locked down inside of a basement. So I think that
That
even
makes sense.
even if that is a really sad story, nobody deserves that. But I think that case gave to the linguistics theorists or the linguistics research to understand why it's very important to have the foundations between the effective links with your parents or your family or the people around you. And that happens inside the classroom. Yeah, if you notice, there are some kids who doesn't have the
This family connection.
Yeah, the family connection. Yes, and that kid probably will be struggling with that kind of issues. Yeah.
Yes. Also, Gershwin in his theory mentions that there is an affective filter.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and that says that there is a barrier in our brain. In fact, he talked about the acquisition device in our brain that is help you to learn the language easily. So that affective filter, for example, stress or anxiety blocks your acquisition device. So kids, as you say, with problems, they don't have family connections, they are stressed all the time. It will be very difficult for them to learn. Yes, that's why it makes a lot of sense for me, this theory, but I know there are more theories and every theory has support. For example,
Yes,
cognitivism
the
or cognitive
cognitive constructivism.
constructivism.
Yes, for example, the cognitive constructivism I think is a bit different. Every theory has a link, and every theory is very helpful inside of the classroom. But for example, cognitive constructivism, I think is more human centered, it focuses on the the process of the construction of knowledge inside of your brain. And one main precursor of this theory is Piaget. Jean Piaget. He was a psychologist and he developed one research about the stages of mind. So the stages of mind are four stages. He claims that there are four stages on the mind, and where the every human goes through in order to learn, to construct the learning. But before that, there are three main parts in the foundations of that. So the three main parts is divided in three different parts. They are connected, but there is divided in three parts. The first one is the adaptation. Then the second one is the assimilation. Yes, and the third one is the collocation. Yeah, is when he said that in the first one is when you create well, he uses the word schemas or schemas or mind maps inside of your brain. So he said that if you are a child, a baby, you construct your knowledge in an individual way because you create your own schemas about learning
Through senses.
Yeah, through senses and your environment. So, for example, if you have an orange, you see that the orange is
You can touch
you can touch it and taste it. It's like it's sweet, smell, and that's the first schema. But if then you give them a grapefruit, which is almost similar, then the kids have the assimilation. So he has one orange and different orange, but he have the assimilation. In that part, Piaget said that is an equilibrium. But what happens if the mom cuts in the middle the orange and the grapefruit? So the kids not identify that the grapefruit is different, the color is different, and when the kid tastes the fruit, he realized that it's different. So there is an disequilibrium there. So in the disequilibrium is when you construct
the new information.
Yeah, a new information, and you can put that new information in the previous schema, or you can even construct a new schema in your brain. So that's the way how all humans construct their knowledge by individuals. And then the collocation is where when you decide if you put the new learning in the previous schema or
create a new
schema. So we can adapt that. Well, most of the modern schools use that theory in order to use it inside of the classroom because it's very useful because you are aware about the needs of the students and you help the students. You become more like a guide than the owner of the knowledge because you let the students learn by individuals, but you monitor them. And then he claims that about 4 stages. The 4 stages. I don't know if have you ever listened about the stages.
kind of remember is pre-operant, operant, and I don't remember the two.
Yeah, well, the first one is the sensory motor.
Sensory motor.
Yeah, the sensory motor stage. Yeah, the sensory motor stage is where you learn about through the
Through the environment, through the
the
senses,
Yes,
Yes.
yes, you by touching. For that
by
reason,
tasting,
tasting,
feeling,
Yes,
yeah,
babies
feeling,
taste
yes,
everything.
smelling,
smelling,
and
exactly,
seeing, also seeing.
and also seeing. So then during the sensory motor stage, uh, children learn um, like familiar things, instead of the environment. For that reason, well, he also said that that stage starts since where you were born till the second year.
2 years.
Yeah, the 2 years. Yeah. So during that stage, I don't know if you have you ever seen the boys, the babies, they touch the food, they
And
even
I think the environment is very important in this stage because
yes,
for the development of the baby, it's not the same a baby who doesn't have a richment environment, like a baby who has a lot of new experiences, a lot of new senses. So it depends a lot of the family and the environment to develop that skills.
yes, and then we have the second stage is the pre-operational stage. So during that stage, Piaget he claims that in that stage, the children learn how to speak, so they learn
They
language.
start to talk.
Yeah, they start to talk. And he also said that is that the ego stage because
Yes, they
they
are very egocentric,
Yeah,
and they can
egocentric.
also be playing. They could be a lot of kids in a room,
Yes.
but they are in their own world. They don't talk each
Exactly,
other. They
yes.
don't play each
Yes.
other. So they are very egocentric.
Yes,
Yes, I
yeah, because they think that
The world.
They are the king of the
yeah,
world.
yeah, the
They are
world
kind of-
is around them,
Yes,
and they
yes.
are the kings.
king.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and then we have the operational stage. Yeah, the concrete operational stage which is the three. In this stage is around to seven to
To
10,
10,
yeah,
11, something like that.
to 11, depending on the developmental cognitive process of the child. During this stage, the child is more aware about his environment, about the physical world. For example, they can understand normal things about as I said before, about the physical world, very things that really happen. For example, like for example, if you touch fire, you can get
I think
burned.
that in this stage, the kids learn that things could be reversible.
Yeah.
For example, like the rain.
Yes.
They see how it rains, but that water don't disappear.
Yes.
It evaporates later, and they then form clouds, and they come
Yeah,
rain,
the
rain
cycle of-
again.
yeah,
So
of
they start to understand that process.
Yes, some process, but some because in the formal operational stage,
They are not.
yes, they are in that part is when they are ready about about to understand the entire world. Sometimes we see some examples about these two stages because, for example, imagine that you have two glasses here, the same glasses, the same, they have the same measurement of the water, but one glass is bigger, and the other one is a thin glass. So if you put water in the same glass and during the complete operational stage, you ask to the boy
The same portion of
yeah,
water.
the same portion of the water to point out which one
Has
has more water.
Probably they are going to point out the
tall
tall
one,
one,
yeah,
the
the
tall
tallest,
one.
yes,
tall one.
yes, because you know he's not. I mean, he's not able to understand more than concrete things. And
Yes.
so for that reason, in the formal operational stage, I don't know, probably his older brother comes and he says, "Come on, it's the same
portion.
yeah, portion of the water."
Yes,
Yeah.
the only difference are the
The
recipients.
recipes, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So with that experiment, you can identify the two last stages. Yes.
Even if you show them that it was the same measure, they won't believe. Like even if they have the evidence, they say, "No, I think the tall glass of water it has more."
Yes,
And
exactly.
the last stage lasts until adulthood.
Yes.
It's important to
Yes.
say that.
Yes, it's very important. Yes, it's, for example, imagine that you have a car. That is the concrete operational stage. Imagine that you have a car, you have I don't know, probably a sport car, and yes, and you love, because it's fast, but it's not very useful when you want to care or carry things bigger than the car.
Yes.
So then you want to buy a truck. So if you can see here the complete operational stage in the formal operational stage by getting some simulations between both cars. You have the car and you have the truck. Both has four wheels. Both are fast. Both has an engine. But then you realize that the truck is more helpful because you can carry things there. You can even put bicycles or
Yes.
put.
For example, if I want to move,
Yeah, if you want to move, yeah,
my truck is going
may
to be
use-
more useful.
Yes. So in that case, you realize that in the concrete, both are the same. You can see that both have motor as they
They are
before.
vehicles.
They are vehicles, but then in the formal, you identify that the truck has different things. So that is the same inside of the classroom. We're talking about, as an example, if we are learning English, for example, you can start by identify the previous learning or the previous knowledge, which is the schema. It can be that one schema. And for example, talking about the we can use example as an example the simple past.
Okay.
We can use as an example the simple past, and you can talk about regular verbs, for example, regular verbs and irregular verbs in simple past. So that's the schema. The schema, the previous knowledge about regular verbs and all of that things. But then you go to the next part, which is a new schema, and the teacher wants to teach to the class the present perfect. So in that case, present perfect, as you know, is conformed by the auxiliary verb have or has, depending on
Of the person.
and then
The participle,
the
right?
participle, the past participle. But when you get into the past participle, the students normally are in
Confused.
shock. Yeah,
Yes, they are very confused.
because they have the custom to talk in simple past. And in that part, it can be a new schema, and it will be a disequilibrium. Yeah,
Yes.
yes. So how can teachers, how can they adapt the classes? Well, by planning like the previous knowledge, and then
Using the previous knowledge to create
to
new
create
knowledge.
exactly. Yeah. In
To
the
create
previous
a
one,
bridge
yeah,
between
a bridge
them
between them.
and the result is the new knowledge.
Exactly, and the new
Yes.
knowledge needs to be very meaningful,
Mhm.
not only to achieve a grade, as you say, in behaviors. I think is to achieve goals and
It's more
skills.
applicable to life, to real life
Yeah, real
situations.
life situation, exactly.
That's true.
That's true. Okay,
Yes.
so
Well,
what do you think
Well,
about the links between the three theories that we talked?
Well, I think that they are developing, like, for example, in Ignatism, didn't agree with behaviorist ideas. No?
Yes.
That's why they create a new one. But now we understand that it's not always like natural um, learning or that comes just as walking or talking. But everything is in our brain, and that's why cognitivism talks about and then the cognitive constructivism. But I think that Diana knows more about, and like she has mastered this topic on cognitivism, right?
yes, cognitivism focuses on how human minds work, how they receive information, how they processes that information, and how the brain creates new information.
Ah, okay, okay.
And it's a theory that contrasts behaviorisms, but because it focuses on the how human mind works, and it has to be with feelings also because it's important to know how students feel.
Mm-hmm. What?
Yeah, well, yeah, cognitives. Yeah, I think it is linked with the cognitive constructivism. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I think they are very cool friends.
Yes,
Yes.
because cognitivism also said that it's important that the task could be applied to the real life situations. Maybe not at that moment, but the knowledge that they receive, they could use it later in another stage of their lives.
Oh, yes. And because it also has to be with the brain, so the more we learn, the more it's in our brains. I think we are going to use it in later,
Yes.
right? Later.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
For that reason, I really think that they both have a link. Yeah, you know, the cognitivism and cognitive constructivism, because well, if you focus on the mental development of the child, you are also aware about how to construct his or her knowledge in order to be very significant in his or her environment.
Yes, and I think that another important point is that cognitivism doesn't focus on memorization or repetition. It focuses on solving problems by themselves. They have to acquire that skills, abilities to be capable of solve problems that present in their daily lives.
Also, so I think it's more challenging, right?
Yes.
Yes. So the students becomes the center in this case because
Yes.
he needs to solve the problems
And teacher works only like a monitor maybe, and sometimes like a guide, but the students do all the work.
yeah, they do all the work. Yeah. Well, do you think that these approaches are very acceptable in the new Mexican school?
Yes, because now we are acquiring like a new system in schools, and we are told as teachers that our learners are the center. We are not more the one in front of the classroom, in front of the whiteboard telling this and this, and they are just copying,
Copying, repeating.
just repeating. No, they are now the center of the learning process, and then our activities have to be focused on them. And you know what? Now the new Mexican school, it's a humanist.
Yeah.
And humanism is another theory. And this tells us that as a teachers we need to be very empathic. We need to show the greatest empathy with our students because every student is a person, it's a whole person, it's not my group, it's every group. And we usually have some kids with special necessities, so this is my whole student. And what I do with them is that I look for activities
Yes.
for them, for this person, for Asaf.
So
for
humanism
Roger.
respect the rhythm of learning of each student.
Yes, yes, we go through the rhythm of every student. Well, this is also a problem because
Yes, it could be a
Secretariat
big
of
problem.
Public Education,
Because of the timing
yes,
of the
Yes,
activities.
this our organization, as this public organization, asks us to have all students in the same like level, but it is difficult
Yeah, it's
because
very
every learner is going to their own rhythm, and we have to understand this and accept. We don't have to, as teachers, like get frustrated for this
Yeah.
reason.
Well, we get frustrated, but we need to accept it. Yeah,
Yes, it's impossible.
Yeah, yes, it's impossible. We need to accept it. But I think in that part, as humanism, yes, claims, the Secretary of the Education needs to also be humanistic with the teacher because it only focuses on the students, but not focuses on the teacher sometimes. But anyway, that would be another great topic for
Yes.
the
But I
next
think that
for the next
it's very
episode.
important.
Yes.
I think that it's very important to respect the rate of learning of every student because the the new knowledge has to be meaningful to
Yeah.
them, so they can apply that later in their lives. Because if it's not, if you don't respect the rate of the students, they only do the exercise to have a grade.
Yeah,
That's
to achieve the 10,
Without
the
Yes.
classical 10,
yes,
right?
without sense. Yes, I think that well, humanists give us like a clue for us how to treat our students, and what I really like is like the way kids learn with in group.
Yes.
Yes, because as I tell you, there are some special kids and there are some low students. But
Or
when
higher
they
students.
yes, when they meet with students that are quickly to acquire the language, they learn better than with me.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
if a child explains to another child, they understand.
Yeah,
each
sometimes the
other.
work between pairs, they understand better than an adult or a teacher explain them.
Yeah, and the now all the knowledge is you can enrich the knowledge. Yeah, working between pairs.
Yes.
That's what social constructivism
Yes, exactly. The
claims,
social
right?
constructivism claims that. Yes, one important research of this is Vygotsky. So Vygotsky was another psychologist. So he studied about the how humans can develop their knowledge or the capacity
Skills.
to
Through social
yeah,
interaction.
to social interaction.
Okay.
Yes, in order to interact with your peers or with the other. So he in contrast to Piaget, he said that we learn through the social interaction. So that constructs our knowledge. And he also studied about that, but in one part of his studies, he also said that we learn individually. Yeah, in one part of our life, in our childhood. For that reason, sometimes I compare Vygotsky's words with Piaget's because he also said that the individuals, the human learns by individuals, but his point is straight directly to the social interaction. Sadly, he passed away.
Very young.
Not very young, but in middle age. Yeah, he passed away at the age of 30. He was 30 years old. For that reason, I think he didn't have enough time to develop his studies.
His theory.
Yes, but after that, he became a very recognized theorist in this field because yeah, he's right. And I also use some of his proposals because I always say when I'm teaching that we don't live in a cave, so we need to socialize with the people.
And I think that knowledge is applicable to live in a society.
Yes, exactly. Yes, yes.
You cannot keep it for yourself.
Yes. For that reason, it's a constructivism because we construct our the knowledge, and this we can also use some technique words from Piaget. Our schemas are constructed, but in a social way. And he for that reason, I think that they even if there are some they differ in most of their studies. I think they also have some similar things. For example, Vygotsky said that we first in our first learning is by individual, but it's in a small. But he didn't.
But it also depends of the environment because the baby, well, he gets the attention from the mother, the
father,
the environment, the things around him.
Yes, yeah. He said that, but I think he didn't express more than because, as I said before, he passed away young. But he said that we learn individually in one part of our life, but then we have the CPD, which is the zone of proximal development.
Yes,
Exactly.
right.
So in that, the CPD is when we learn by socialization with our peers, if you have an older brother, or if you or your father,
And I think
mother.
society plays an important role because we are always learning from another. Even when we are not in a school,
Yes.
we learn from our peers.
Yeah, from our peers. Yes, and that is one. It's a normal.
Like a process.
Yeah, process or activity that the students have inside of the classroom. Because if you notice, when you are teaching inside of the classroom, probably the students don't have the freedom to ask you because they probably will be shy or they will think that you will be angry, like behaviors. Yeah, but for that reason they normally learn with a peer who has a higher level on the topic. Yeah,
Yes.
and I've been remembered about that when I was a child. I used to do that sometimes with my friends. Yes.
And I think they might feel comfortable with a peer than with a teacher.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
You may feel much more comfortable.
You feel free to ask your doubts.
Exactly.
And
You know
they,
why?
and they use their own language to explain, not like the
Exactly.
teacher language.
Yes, technical language.
Yes.
Exactly.
We used to use technical language, and also our students sometimes are afraid of asking us, or because also it depends on how we treat them when they make mistakes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I would really like to ask you, because this happens to me in my teaching practice. I don't really know how to correct my students or when to correct them, and sometimes they are like they feel bad about this and they don't want to ask more questions, or they feel ashamed. So, can you give me some piece of advice?
But you can use their errors in a good way, because it's not only say, well, it's bad and that.
No.
They have to realize where is the mistake and how to improve that
Yes.
mistake.
Yes, that's like the error correction, right?
Yes.
Yes. There are some strategies in order to apply it that inside of the classroom. For example, you can be you need to be kind of humanistic in this part.
Okay.
Yes.
Like show
yes.
empathy.
Yes, show
Yes.
empathy. Yes, because
And use the right vocabulary and
Yes,
words, because you
exactly.
can make them feel bad, or you can make them feel like they
Have
want
to-
to be better.
Yeah, the affective relation needs to be very important when you are making the error correction. Yeah.
Yes. Well, and I also have this question. For example, when I focus on fluency, and I have heard that they make some mistakes. I don't know what is your strategy, if you correct them right away, or you wait for them to finish the
I think it
conversation.
depends of
Yeah,
the
exactly.
mistake of the word, because you can correct when they are talking, when it's a pronunciation mistake, but if the mistake is about grammar or something like that, you wait and explain there later, because the explanation is longer.
Yeah. But for example, probably in a reading lesson, in that case, you can also correct the use error correction in at the same time while he's reading, because he identified the good pronunciation of the
And
word.
to avoid fossilization.
Yeah, and to avoid fossilization, exactly.
Yes,
Yes.
that's-
So for example, error correction, I think goes hand in hand with the scaffolding. It's like a theory which is linked with the social constructivism. Yeah, and Jerome Brunner, he proposed the scaffolding. It is connected to Vygotsky's learning, because in social constructivism it has the individual learning, the CPD zone, the zone of proximal development, and then it has the scaffolding. So in the scaffolding is when you, as it mentioned, is like a metaphor about construct, for example, a cabin or a house, because the scaffolding is like construct over things, if you were
With Legos.
Yeah, Legos, exactly. That's the metaphor about scaffolding, and if you apply the scaffolding inside of the classroom, is, for example, your correction can be very helpful to construct new knowledge, and to construct and avoid the fossilization
Yes.
and all of the different issues that are normally inside of the classroom. Yes, and another thing is like the spiral learning. Everything is
Yes.
connected.
It's about
yeah.
Jerome Brunet,
Yeah,
right?
so yeah, it's about him. Yeah, it's like you learn in a spiral way, but you always go back to the previous learning.
And
Yes.
about that, he said that teachers needs to plant the basic knowledge, and when the students got older, you as a teacher are going to develop that knowledge,
Yes, exactly.
that basic knowledge.
Yeah, the basic knowledge. Yes.
Oh yes. Now I remember about him that he talks about curriculum or syllabus in a course,
Yes.
and it is important, like, to plan what is going to be useful and how you can relate to what you previously taught.
Talk exactly.
And so one interesting thing about him is that he says that if they are not going to use this subject, it's eliminated.
Yes.
But this, of course, goes with the teacher's beliefs, also with the, for example, that we are working for Secretariat of Public Education, we have to adapt to this,
To
but
the curriculum.
to
of
the
the school.
curriculum. But I think that every teacher has different beliefs, different perceptions. So I'm going to teach what I believe. For example, one of my beliefs is that I'm going to teach them English, but they are going to use this knowledge for the future. So I am always placing my students in context. For
Yes.
example, if you go to the United States and your cell phone run out of battery, but you need to get to a place. How would you ask people to get to that place? So let's start first with excuse me. Could you tell me, because we are going to talk in a formal way.
Yes,
So
yes, in a polite way.
that's my beliefs. They are going to use them in the future. That's what I am preparing them for this. But yes, as I tell you, depends on everyone, and that's how you are going to teach, right?
And I think another factor to consider in the way you are going to teach is the interest of the students and the context of the students, because even when you as a teacher adopt a theory, you have to consider the students, the previous knowledge they have, the context, their interest, their age.
Yes, yes.
That's
That's very rich, you know. we are growing now. We are growing by sharing our learning
Our experiences, our knowledge.
So,
Yeah,
yes.
we are also scaffolding our teaching strategies now, right?
Yes.
Yes.
We learn teachers from teachers. So
Yes,
that's good.
yeah. I think that's about the teacher's belief, or
Yes,
Yes.
of course.
And I think it's important knowing that language is always changing. It's not the same the way we teach now that the way the teachers taught 10 years ago. So the way that we teach is always changing.
So I have a question for you. What do you think about the use of technology or the edtext, educational technology? How can we apply these theories using the edtext and then show them to the students? Because nowadays every student is native technological, and they
But it depends of the context. Not every student has a cell phone. Not every student has access to internet. So that's why I say it's important to consider the context.
The context.
Maybe in the city, yes, many kids have cell phones. But if you go to outside the city, they are not always have their own cell phone.
in the rural parts, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. I think that this is more applicable in
Cities.
urban
Yes,
places.
for example, I work in Orizabar, and well, but kids are not allowed to bring cell phones to the classroom. But what I use is that I think technology is a good tool for teachers. So I just use it, and they are not allowed to use cell phones. But for example, I bring my computer and the projector, because we have some projectors and the speakers,
Yes.
and I play songs and for them, and so they like to watch the videos, and they try to do the same as the video. And I also apply some games, for example, Kahoot or other games, and they are really engaged with the class. But as Diana says, it depends on the context.
Okay,
Yes.
depends on the context. Yeah. That's very important, because I work on the private with private educations, private schools, and we have all the tools. Yeah,
Yes, I know.
the kids they have
They have access to that
yeah, to
tools.
the tools. Yes. So yes, in my case, the class it develops in order to my plan. And I also use some strategies from these theories. And in my case, it's very, very, very helpful, and I really enjoy working with technology inside of the classroom. And that is also helpful to the students because they learn how to use technology in a good way, not in order to kill the technology.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it's very important, but you can do your class only use technology. You have to apply another strategies.
Yeah.
Yes, because when I have just applied games and this, my kids used to tell me, when are we going to learn?
Yes.
And I said, you are not, aren't you learning?
Yeah.
Am I not teaching?
Yeah.
But yes, that's why, well, this talk has been, as you say, a rich talk. And that's what I like your videocast because
Yes.
I listen to every teacher and different contexts. You work in a different. I work in the city, so it is good to know ideas and in
To
this
share ideas.
And we learn about each
Yes,
other.
yes,
We
yes.
can share our ideas, we can learn about it.
Yeah, the collaboration and co-participation is very important. It's crucial. I think it's like the keystone of the education nowadays because of the globalization. So,
The social part.
Yes, the social part. Yeah, as Vygotsky
That's
said.
Vygotsky.
Yeah, yes, yeah. So that we can learn through the social cultural.
Yes.
Because, for example, we need to be aware about the culture. We need to, for that reason, the intercultural awareness is very important when we are inside of the classroom, when we are teaching English, because we need to, or the student needs to understand beyond the grammar and vocabulary. He needs to understand about.
They have to internalize that knowledge,
Yes, yes.
not just keep it in a sheet, in
Yeah,
a book.
exactly,
No, they have
yeah.
to internalize to be able to apply them later.
Yeah, exactly. Because, for example, if you don't know about the Fifth Avenue, or if you don't know nowadays about
You have no idea what is Fifth
about Taylor
Avenue.
Swift,
Yes.
even, yeah, because I don't like that music, but I need to.
Yes, we need to know.
I need to understand, the pop culture, or even movies. You need to learn beyond the some
Some vocabulary,
vocabularies,
yes.
Or for that reason, the new books are more. They are,
Like they are adding this information
yeah,
to
the
tips.
people, who made the books, the new books, they are aware about that. So for that reason, in the new books of English, you can see more strategies according to the theories, and yes, you can link it. Yeah, I think that's amazing.
So, yes.
Yes.
So I hope that the teachers who were watching us understand theories, and if, I don't know, if you can give our contact or
Yes,
number.
yes,
They
I-
have more questions.
I'm going to share the contact here in the banner there. Okay,
Okay.
so you can access to
Yes.
the next episode, and the next episode will be about what.
The one that you say that is interesting.
We can talk about intercultural awareness. That's
yes.
an interest topic.
Yeah, intercultural awareness is very important.
Yes.
Yes. Because I also enjoy to learn about the culture when I go abroad. Yes, because it helps me to understand more the place. Yes. It's not even in the United States. You can also use it if you are in France
England.
or England or
Yes.
Germany, because every place or each place around the world is unique. Yes. Okay. So stay with us and
Thank you for having us.
thanks for watching us and listen to us. See you to the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye bye.